Assalamu alaikum. I would like to talk about precast concrete. And in Saudi Arabia here and even in Europe after World War II, millions of precast concrete units were casted. And here in Saudi Arabia we have a lot of precast concrete construction, and the bulk of it was done for huge compounds that were supported by the kingdom as housing projects. Actually, I think I lived in King Fahd University in a precast concrete house also myself. So what is the difference between precast concrete and normal concrete construction? If we take villas, only villas, let's not go far, only normal houses, they are probably going to be used in the same way. Maybe the only difference is that in precast concrete you don't have the normal beam column system. You have more like load bearing systems, and in normal concrete houses you can demolish the block work between one room and another room. In precast usually they don't use as much block work, and most of the panels are precasted in the factory and installed. So you see they are a little similar. There is a lot of advantages for precast concrete and quality of the concrete, and if you want to make the building insulated, you can put panels, insulation panels in the walls and so on. So if we put this aside, what are the other differences between precast and normal concrete? Well, precast is an industry which is going to pour the elements at the site, but they have to still transport those elements to the construction location, and they have to connect those elements together. So there is a process of manufacturing, lifting, transporting, and fixing, and then the fixing part is very critical also, because when you have two elements fixed together, the fixing mechanism becomes a critical item. It should be really quite strong, and it should be durable, and it should not corrode, and so on. So there is a big technology behind precast, which is in the part of the fixing. So precast has not been taught too much in universities. It's been left as an art. It had its own design procedures, and the design procedure, of course, include all the steps I just mentioned. But it's really a common construction method. Just like before, we used to have all our warehouses made only of steel. So if you look at any warehouse or factory in Saudi, it is made of steel columns and steel roofs. And very quickly we started to get a huge shopping malls that are combination of steel and concrete. And you see them coming up very quickly. A lot of steel, and then precast panels of concrete are installed, and this. So I believe that in our construction, especially with the housing market that is in demand, everybody is thinking normal construction or precast. Now I think what should happen is it should be 80% normal construction and 20% precast. There is nothing wrong with having precast window frames. I mean concrete window frames. Just put them there. The size is fixed. Then the window will become correct size. Not like now you have every window probably different size. Again, you can have precast door frames, concrete door frames. You can have a lot of things. So I think we are missing this concept of engineering concept of combining like a percentage of precast with percent with the main contract. This we can, for example, have a precast shading over windows in the housing and the high-rise buildings now everybody is building, so that you reduce the amount of sun that goes into the window. Now, if you want to make an element that is covering the window from direct sun, and you are doing normal concrete construction, this piece will be quite expensive and difficult to make. Whereas if you have a standard panel that you just put there, again, as I said, it will be probably a good energy saving mechanism. So it is not wrong that we should think a little bit ahead about what is best for this phase of new need for a lot of housing, and find ways that will make it less expensive and more reliable to whoever buys or lives in those housing. So I am with precast. I've all my life been with precast in terms of fixing and lifting and all this. That's my experience. But when it comes to decision making, you can hear that if I have 100 or 200 villas to build, then I may think precast. And if I do them in precast, then people may not buy them because they are precast. So I think that subject is shallow. We should think about it in a little different way. We should reduce the resistance of the person who is going to buy the precast by giving him options, expansion options for his villa, for example. I mean, I don't want to take a precast house and then be restricted. I cannot expand it, or I cannot make any changes in it. So there are some things that one can think about in this. This is just a thought on precast versus normal cast-in-place housing in Eastern Province or South. Thank you.